Bryn, would you...
Check on Sev? Always. But how are you holding up?
I'm alright. Just worried about him, you know? He did the right thing in the end, and he seems to have come back to us for now, but all those issues that led him to the Eye in the first place, they aren't solved in a day.
He needs us now more than ever.
Exactly.
I appreciated your candor in the meeting, Sev.
It was terrifying. Wasn't sure I'd be allowed to stay. You didn't get to voice an opinion with the others. Are we?
Well, I'm not going to pin a medal on you, because Sola says we shouldn't waste the materials. But you did good, big guy. We're a team. And it's good to know you're still with us.
I knew something was wrong the moment that thing started talking to me when Stanild wasn't around. It was very focused on you.
Me?
So much so that it said the only way the plan would succeed was if you talked to it. It reeked of trap. I didn't survive a decade around Tarzan Norians without picking up when someone's holding a knife behind their smile.
But you still took me down there.
Sorry. An educated risk. I felt there was nothing it could do and wanted the whole band to hear it talk. I don't think it understood we have the scry.
And Stanild wouldn't use one, of course.
The Talon was his deepest secret. Whom would he tell?
Can you tell me more about Stanild's plans for once he went through the Grand Gate?
He was counting on Isla. She was exceptional at protective fields. But even then, no. I don't think he had a real plan. The Talon had convinced him he'd be able to survive, and fool that he was, he trusted it. We can't afford that mistake. But I have a theory. You know how the weather sometimes skews wildly hot and cold?
Right. The aeroliths.
What else do we see on similar cycles?
Miasma.
Exactly. So, it follows.
You think the aeroliths are able to affect raw magic somehow?
I do. And in Stanild's private records and designs. I found notes, specifically on aeroliths with Norian commentary.
You think the Norians were involved in their creation?
It would certainly explain why Tarza had such access to aeroliths before the Surge. If I'm right, this might be the key to making the source survivable.
Fewer tangles means less dead me. Absolutely. Where do we start?
You'll need to head to the Watersmith area of the Institute, and I'll guide you from there.
Bryn, I examined the wreckage at the Grand Gate after everything that transpired there.
Found something useful?
A kinetic strand, in fact. The Ark must have torn it from the Herald's pattern in the chaos of the battle.
Think we could weave it into my mantle?
I don't see why not. Its pattern appears to be quite similar to those found on wild creatures and Archons.
All right. We need every advantage.
Then let's get to work. And we're finished. This will be quite the powerful addition to your mantle.
How so?
This strand can twist kinetic magic into a tunnel. In battle, you could push debris or enemies through it and send them flying through the air quite forcefully.
Could I jump through it?
I suppose you could?
Hey, there's a lot of tall buildings, flying creatures. This is going to be great.
You're right. Just try to be careful.
I hate to do this when we're already dealing with something like 7 distinct major crises each day. I've got 2 pieces of bad news. Which one do you want to hear first?
First one. Absolutely.
Excellent choice. We have a stove problem. We use specially enchanted coals to maximize burn time and minimize weight, and we're dead out of them. And second, the stove itself is dented. Rather badly.
What? How did that happen?
I don't know. I don't do stove maintenance. I'm a logistics girl. Maybe Sev sat on it.
He's still got bum fur, so if he did, it wasn't on.
Regardless, this is a damn and solar fix. One problem each.
I'm not sure they're in the best place right now.
That's why I'm asking you. They both love you, and can be grown-ups for the good of the group. Arya's already sick of salad. So, about all that stuff I had you bring me. Turns out I don't need it as much as I thought I did when I was sleep-deprived and strung out.
Funny how much clarity comes from a nap.
Yeah. Anyway, I've put all those materials back in your chest. Along with a few other things Arya and the band found cluttering the caravan.
Wow. Thanks, Kaz.
Don't mention it. Use it for whatever you want. Gear, weapons, fixing up the camp.
Hey, mind if we talk somewhere private?
Lead the way.
I won't be returning to expeditions. I've known for a while now, but I couldn't bring myself to admit it. My days as Point are over.
I thought you were recovering from your injury.
Not as well as I should be. That I got injured at all was a sign that I'm not as fast as I used to be. I should count myself lucky. Not many Points get a career this long, but I'm not ready for this to end. Especially here, of all places. What kind of legacy is it to reach the Enclave only to sit by the fire?
But you've had an incredible career. And it isn't ending just because you can't go on expeditions.
I know, but it's not the same. And some part of me was hoping to end on a big score. I thought if I found out who my father was, if he turned out to be some great weaver like my mother, it's silly.
Tell me.
I thought I could solidify my legacy in history. Make sense of what my own contributions have been, if anything at all.
You're an incredible weaver in your own right. You don't need impressive parents to prove that. And if you had to pick your last act as Point, isn't finding your way into the Enclave the biggest score of all? You're everything I want to be.
That's very kind. Maybe in time I'll make peace with what my career has been. But for now, it's too raw.
Is there anything I can do?
Unless you can give me a few years back. This is grief I'll need to sit with for a while.
I understand. I wish there was something I could do to help Arya see herself the way I see her. Lane knows a thing or two about recording legacies.
Ah, good. We're all here.
Yes, we're here to talk about the stove.
Anyway, stove's not working. Campfire sucks by comparison. How are we fixing this?
Yes, please, let's talk about the stove.
How did we run out of coal anyway? I spent 2 days in Varentia working on that last batch.
Sure, but then we ended up in the Enclave. So now we need to find more. Also in the Enclave.
I don't easily have the materials to process another batch. But the temple might have some. I hate to admit it, but that was the one really useful thing I took out of my time with the Church of the Hallowed Pyre. They know their fuels.
Great! Temple. But what good's coal without a proper place to burn it for cooking? Solar?
If we're able to find coal like before, then it'll just be a case of reforming and reinforcing the old stove. I will need a few materials. I'll draft up a list for Bryn.
Good. Excellent. We're moments away from hot food. Go team!
So I'll...
Go team!
Lane, I was wondering if you could help me with something.
What is it?
Well, it turns out Oria's search for her father wasn't just about finding her family.
Crusades into one's lineage rarely are. Let me guess. She didn't find the missing piece of herself that she hoped she would, and now she's having an existential crisis.
Yeah, that kind of sums it up.
It happens. So, what has all this really been about?
She knows she needs to retire, and she's struggling with what her legacy has been.
Isn't it strange how the most accomplished people never seem to recognize their own success?
Yeah, I was hoping you could help with that. After all, isn't chronicling a legacy your specialty?
We could certainly commemorate her career with a written account. A lovely idea. I would suggest we personalize it with anecdotes from each of our traveling companions, as they've been in Oria's band longer than you or I. Would you interview them for me? Legacies may be my specialty, but you might have the leg up when it comes to connecting with others.
Sure, I can do that. Any tips on what to ask them?
Ask whatever you like. Maybe you want a few humorous stories in the mix? Though some readers prefer heartfelt. Why don't I start by interviewing you?
Me?
Of course, we'll need your input. What has Oria meant to you?
Before Oria, I didn't really have much of a mentor when it came to weaving. Sure, I picked up things from my old band, but she takes passing on knowledge so seriously. And her love of our culture comes through in how she teaches.
Great. I'll transcribe that and start her biography. Take notes when you speak to the others and come back to me.
You know, a lot of points struggle with transitioning into a Watcher's role full-time. And there's never been a point more passionate than Oria.
I know. I hope this eases her pain.
I'm sure it will. Now, what can I do to help?
We'll definitely highlight Ori's accomplishments, but I'm wondering if you've got any lighter stories to share.
Well, there was this one time I had to borrow a pair of her trousers after an experiment went awry. Well, borrowed without asking first.
So you stole her trousers? And they fit you?
It was wash day, and I was trying to accelerate the drying process with a little magical heat. When all my clothes went up in flames, no one else in the camp would let me touch theirs. So I borrowed a pair from Oria while she was out on an expedition, hoping to find a solution before she returned. Alas, I did not. When she came back, she simply cocked a brow and said they looked better on me than her. I still have those trousers. They're comfortable, so I wear them on wash day for a laugh. And if I have to belt them above my ribs, so be it.
Thanks for sharing, Dam.
Bryn, I love what you're doing for Oria. How can I help?
What do you think Oria's bravest moment has been?
I think she's living through it right now.
How so?
Oria loves danger. Hunting wild creatures, delving into dark ruins, pushing the boundaries of her magical abilities. But in my opinion, moments of true courage come from facing your fears, and Oria's never been afraid of danger. But recognizing that it's time to let go of what she loves and step down, leaving everything she's built in your hands, that takes more courage than she's ever had to muster. I don't think she could do it if it weren't for you.
Wow. Thank you, Sola.
Happy to help.
I haven't known Oria for as long as the others, but she's done a lot for me. I'd like to help with your project if I can.
Of course, Sev.
What do you want to know?
You said Oria has done a lot for you. Tell me more about that.
After everything that's happened, everything I've done, she's just accepted me as part of the band. Until now, my position in life has always felt precarious. To just be accepted, no questions asked by someone like her. It means everything. She's given me a home. All of you have.
You'll always have one with us.
For the first time in my life, I actually believe that.
Thanks, Sev.
Glad to be of service.
Your idea to commemorate Oria's career with Lane is lovely. How can I help?
If you were to summarize Oria's influence on your life, what would that be?
Oria saved me from serious burnout with the Udean relief efforts. Not to mention, saving me from myself a second time here in the Enclave. I don't know if I'd still be here without her. Or any of you, for that matter. Anyway, the longer I worked the relief ships, the worse the fatigue hit me. And I think that had become my entire identity. Barely a few minutes into meeting me, Oria asked if I ever thought of becoming a weaver. I thought she was mad. But I guess she had observed me giving orders and organising shipments on the docks all morning. By the end of our conversation, I had a new purpose and a home in our band.
That's perfect. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
My hand is cramped. But the account of Oria's career is finished.
Great. I'll gather everyone if you're ready to present it.
I'll need to ice my quill hand. But of course.
Let's hope she likes this.
She will.
What's going on?
We wanted to present the latest addition to Lane's archive to you, together. We all contributed, though credit goes to Lane for compiling and writing it.
I've titled it A True and Personal Account of Oria Silverbeak Harpinet.
What is going on?
We wanted to do something special to commemorate your time as Point.
You didn't have to do all this.
We did. You've done more for each of us time and time again.
No one is more deserving of a place in Weaver history than you, Oria.
So we took it upon ourselves to write you one.
As a thank you for everything.
I don't know what to say.
Lane, why don't you read just the opening?
Oria Silverbeak, as she came to be known, was born to Sharian Harpinet and Eugenius Osphine inside the Enclave just before the Surge.
Osphine.
Though she never knew her father, her mother hoped Oria would follow in her footsteps as a skilled enchantress within the Maida. But Oria decided to become a Point, blazing her own trail. Something she would continue to do throughout her career, bigger and bolder each time. We'll let you read the rest on your own.
We hope this account will help you see yourself and your accomplishments the way we see you.
I'm at a loss. All I can say right now is thank you.
Bryn, I was so moved by what you did for Oria. It's clear she means a lot to all of you.
Thank you. She does.
But her father, Eugenius Osphine, I know who he is.
You do?
Yes, and I want you to make an offering for his grave. I can give you a key swatch to reach it.
Wait, you know where it is?
I do. And I'm sure Aurea would love to watch you visit on the scry.
Okay, but shouldn't we tell her?
Trust me, this is something you should show her directly. Come back when you've got the offering and I'll give you the key swatch.
One of Aurea's feathers would be beautiful as part of the offering for her father's grave. An offering for Eugenius. Time to talk to Arik. I've made an offering for Eugenius's grave.
Great. Here's the key swatch to his farm. That's where he was buried. I'll join Aurea at the scry when you arrive.
Are you sure you don't want to be the one to place the offering? This was your idea, after all.
It will be more meaningful for her if it's you. Trust me.
All right. Thank you for this.
By the way, did you hear what Aurea said to me?
No.
I guess you can call me Madame Osphine.
No!
Oh, yes. You are a smart, capable, and amazing person. But you're a menace.
What is this place?
Osphine Pastures. Your father's farm. I thought you'd want to see it for yourself.
My father lived here.
More than lived. He gave his blood, sweat, and tears for the Enclave here. Eugenius Osphine may not have a statue in Denevron for excellence in weaving or kissing the eye's arse, but he kept the surviving weavers afloat during the aftermath of the Surge.
I had no idea.
After the Surge, he only kept enough produce to take care of himself and his workers. The rest went to weavers across the Enclave, and his generosity led to many helping him in return.
I can't believe he did so much for the Enclave.
He was a true leader, if not in the most traditional way. A community of workers formed around him, including ex-points, who would transport his food across the Enclave in these caravans. Many of whom went on to form the Scouts as an organization that still exists within Cassidan's Hold today.
So that's how you know all this.
Before the Arcs began malfunctioning, they were integral to farming across the Enclave. Many farmers refused to stop using them because of their efficiency, even at the risk of their farmhands being attacked. But your father scrapped his arcs as soon as he got wind of the first malfunction to keep his workers safe.
That can't have been an easy decision.
But he made it anyway.
Everyone thought he was mad at the time, but in a few months when the attacks became widespread, his forethought was recognized. After the surge, aftershocks destroyed many farms, including this one. Tangles spread across the land, crops began to die. While other farmers abandoned their livelihood, Eugenius never did. He had to rebuild many times, but he weathered every storm.
Wow. My mother told me he was driven.
Of all his workers, Eugenius was said to be the first one in the field each morning and the last to leave at night.
He sounds a lot like you, Aurea. This looks like a wooden carving of your mother, Aurea.
Please, bring it back for me.
Of course. This must be your father's grave, Aurea. I'll place an offering here. It certainly won't be lonely. Are all these offerings for Eugenius, Eric? Some of the flowers are fresh.
The scouts continue to take care of his grave to this day, to honor all the sacrifices he made for the Enclave.
He must have been an incredible man.
This is so much more than I ever could have expected. Thank you for showing me, Eric. Truly. And Bryn, when you come back to camp, there's something I need to do. All right, everyone. It's no secret that my role in our band is changing. What each of you has done to help me find peace in that is more than anyone deserves. And the time has come for me to say that serving each of you as point has been just... Being your point has been the privilege of my life. I've loved every minute of it. But in every ending, there's a new beginning. She's been doing the job since we got here, and the time has come for us to congratulate Bryn on formally becoming your point.
Well deserved.
She's been exceptional. We're in great hands.
Bryn, care to say a few words?
Aurea, you brought me into your band with the promise of mentoring me. And it's been more than I ever dreamed. If I can become half the point you've been, I will be happy.
It's crazy to think I ever doubted you. But you were made for this. I'd follow you anywhere.
I couldn't ask for someone better to pass the torch to.
Thank you, Aurea. That means everything.
You earned it. And I should have done it a while ago. It was just hard to let go.
This place never fails to impress. Just imagine it before the veil went up. Wouldn't have had to scavenge for alchemically treated coal at any rate.
One never quite forgets that smell.
Temple coal taking you back?
Unfortunately, yes. It conjures up images of stern keepers, hot stuffy vestibules, and ranted invective posing as sermons on the evils of magic. It was everywhere in Renland. The church has the nation in a stranglehold, and so I left, at considerable speed. I don't think I really stopped running at all until... well,
Until you met the love of your life.
yes. I thought so. I still hope so.
It's been a strain on you both.
I'm sure everyone has noticed.
Need an ear?
Maybe. It's clear she yearns to just stay here in the Enclave, even if we brought down the veil. But I find comfort in the road. It has few preachers, and no community dedicated to strangling out individuality.
Worried if you stop moving that it will catch up with you.
I suppose I am still running, in a way.
Does she know that?
It's not something I want to burden her with.
She's strong, in a lot of ways. Something to think about.
Right. Yes, I shall.
It's significantly easier to do a repair than working up a new suit of armor from scratch. I'm going to go soft.
We could use some really intricate chandeliers to brighten up the place.
Casman would be happy. Though, I strongly suspect this entire thing is an elaborate ruse to get Dharm and I talking.
It's not like her to run out of things, it's true. Is it working, do you think?
I don't know. The intentions are good, but I'm hurting.
I think you both are.
Yes. But I'm the one who's been following his dream of wandering the Maida for years. And the moment I say, hey, maybe we could do something else, he shuts down.
You're right. That doesn't seem fair.
It isn't.
He didn't have a great reaction to what you said, it's true. But at the same time, he was rather caught off guard.
Well, perhaps it was a little abrupt.
Maybe he deserves a chance to have a second reaction.
You're as bad as Casman. Speaking of, we should see her and present the fruits of our labors.
I had a chance to run a test, and I would say our stove is cooking better than ever. Keeps the heat well, burns clean, a job well done.
Dom's always been very good at treating that kind of coal. Must be the Wren in him.
Hardly. No, I simply find my inspiration in...
I think...
Shh. Sola, I have an idea.
Oh?
Tarmakind uses exceptionally precise temperatures to work the metal, yes? Sometimes exceptionally high?
I mean, yes, but...
I finished Xavier's journals. He was quite thorough and talked extensively about working with the Halopire priests.
Nothing quite helps me commune with the flames like someone slamming a hammer into metal.
You'd be surprised. But I imagine Dom means the shrine underground. I saw it mentioned too.
Precisely. And perhaps we could lean on our intrepid point to investigate.
Of course. I'd be happy to.
They must have kept records. Samples, perhaps.
I really appreciate this.
Hard to imagine the arc that brought us through the veil is the key to securing the source.
See those massive pipes running along the roof? Norian design. I recognized them earlier, and they prompted my investigation into the Norians and the Enclave.
Confirming your findings that the Norians were heavily involved in the tapestry.
This should be the place, Bryn. You're looking for tablets with a circle marked by 6 dots. They'll look blank, but I'll be able to read them when you throw them back.
You're full of useful secrets, Zell.
swallowed the Brim. I hoped they would still be down here.
What should we expect?
The Norians were experimenting without informing the Enclave on the aerolifts. They wanted them to do more than just moderate the weather. They wanted to control it.
They got tired of long winters? Gloomy days?
Think bigger. If you control the rain in a desert, you control the land itself. That should be enough for us to piece their research together, Bryn.
Will I be learning how Norians hide their information, sir?
Yes. And if word gets out, we're both going to be hunted.
The best knowledge is always dangerous. I shouldn't be surprised the Norians use a fluid to conceal their secrets. It's ingenious, really. An acid of sorts that can etch the writing into the metal invisibly. And when you apply another compound, It oxidizes. It's like a legible rust, and yet, after you're done, you can just wipe it clean and it flakes off.
Medium aside, what did we learn?
As Sev expected, research on the aeroliths. It's a bit outside my speciality, so I passed it to Dan.
And how are we feeling about Sev's revelations?
It's not like I've never kept things from my friends, and I generally keep them from my family, so I empathize. But I don't keep them from the band. Anyway, Dan's waiting.
Lane said I should talk to you about the plates we found for Sev.
Perhaps you could walk with me?
Sure.
I have already passed my notes on. This conversation isn't about them. I wanted to ask how you're doing with regards to Sev.
I feel for him. He's had to struggle with divided loyalties and had no one to lean on. Hiding that kind of strain can't have been easy. How lonely to carry that without help.
I agree. Our friend has been suffering in silence. You are kind to think of him first. But please don't forget, you are the one out there with her life on the line. You have your struggles too. There is a Bryn out there who wasn't deceived by her friend. Who wasn't forced into the role of point so early, for that matter.
I promise you, I'm okay. But thank you for taking this moment.
Ultimately, I will say this. There was a time in my life I walked away from everything I held most important. Sev is handling it better than I did. He's not angry or bitter, he's just working through the problem. Commendable, really. I aspire to the same. It's kind of you to help him. I'm sure he appreciates it more than he'll ever be able to say. So I'm saying it for him. Sev already has my notes. Good luck in your endeavors.
Exciting news, Bryn.
You figured out how to clear the source?
Nothing quite that far along, but we are a step closer. As I suspected, the Norians were doing experiments not even Enclave leadership knew about. Not to just stabilize the weather, but directly control its extremes.
Which is pretty much what we're seeing the aeroliths do, here and now.
I honestly think that these experiments, left unattended, are the direct cause of the wild temperature changes. Likely contributed to the floods as well, though I suspect Asylum was the larger cause there. Regardless, if I can pick up where their research left off, we might have a solution to our problem at the source.
Did your research say anything about miasma and tangles?
No. Those phenomena are too new to be in the records you recovered, which are pre-search.
What did the Norians stand to gain controlling the weather anyway?
Their power base has always been in Taza, where the deserts need water to grow. Imagine being able to withhold rain or worsen heat at a whim. What kind of power would that give you? The kind the worst parts of the Order crave.
If we succeed, will we be able to stop the weather fluctuations entirely?
I hope so, in time. But the system has been out of control for years. For now, I want to focus on our immediate problem of the Source and the Surgeborn.
What will it take to move from might have a solution to definitely have a solution for the Source?
The research you recovered focused on using patterns from creatures with natural flame and frost affinity. It used those patterns to briefly augment one part of the enchantments woven into an aerolith.
Use flame magic to tilt the aerolith hotter for a time?
Yes, exactly. And they had some success with it, proving the methods viable.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but too bad there aren't miasma creatures.
There's one, And Dharm already managed to recover some of its pattern.
But not enough?
No. But it is a basis for my theory. And I think there's a way to recover patterns that could still influence miasma. What we need is to test against a complete set of exquisite resonances. One each of frost, flame, and kinetic. Any creature will do, however. Arcs, wild creatures, it doesn't matter. They've all lived through decades of this growing miasma cycle. We're going to combine them with the Norian's notes and Dharm's studies of the Herald to build a device to influence the aeroliths. I gave the design to Sola. She said it should be doable, but wants your approval on which materials to use.
If this could pull miasma out of the source somehow, sign me up.
It's the most promising lead I have. And it's very promising indeed.
Do with a little heat.
Huh.